One.
Hello, welcome back to the Network Effect. Once again, my name is Fred Robinson. Thank you for joining us today on this great Monday. So we have heard from two great men that in our community that gave us some nice advice on being a business. So now this aspect is of the interview is about creativity. Um, I want to introduce you to a young lady that I've known personally for a while, real close to me. Her name is Twiggy Stewart. How you doing, Twiggy?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the support and help that you do around the gallery here. So tell the audience a little bit, first of all, where you're from, what you do, and how you do it.
Okay. I'm from Chicago and Milwaukee. Um, what do? I do everything. So I make candles. I make these beautiful sculpture heads. I write and perform poetry. I also have some visuals, and I also am a social media influencer. And I currently have 600,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah, that's nice. Let's start with that.
Okay.
I know a little bit more about you than most people. So, and I do understand what that means to you in regards to your followers and TikTok. So tell the audience about how that was created, and tell them about Ronald, your brother, and everything about that.
So I was. It's actually a kind of a long story, but I'm gonna try to make it short. So basically, I was promoting my album and I had an album release party in Nashville. When we pull up to the album release party, my brother, who has Down syndrome, he looks me in the eye and he says, "Ashley, I'm the star." I said, "What?" Okay. So, some months go by. I'm promoting my album on TikTok, but then I also just upload funny videos with my brother. So there was one day I needed my hair done. I asked my brother, I said, "Hey, are you going to help me wash my hair?" He said, "I'm going to help you perm your hair." I said, "Ronald, I don't need a perm." He said, "Trust me." And then gave me a kiss. So that was our first million views. From there, we did small challenges, and we had like celebrities like Keith Lee, Kalani, light skinned Keisha, Kim from the Parkers, Courtney, Countess Vaughn.
Okay.
We had a lot of them reach out to us and actually support. So Ronald is really bigger than life, It's basically just about our relationship as brother and sister, and just I just show my brother as an individual. I think that's kind of what separates our content from like other people who have special needs, because I show my brother not as his like dysfunction or anything like that, or not dysfunction, but basically his diagnosis. I don't show him as his diagnosis, but I show him as the person that he is. So, it's just brother and sister content, really, for me. And then from there, we have 600,000 followers, and then we're growing rapidly, like every day. And we just do it because it's fun. It's like being famous is a hobby for us.
Right.
So
So now Ronald has gotten an award. Give us a little insight on that in regards to.
well, he hasn't gotten like an award per se.
Acknowledged. Would that be better to say?
Oh yeah, well he did get acknowledged by the National Down Syndrome Society, and they did come out with the first Down syndrome Barbie doll. They gave Ronald one.
Oh.
Yeah, we gifted it to a couple of our cousins, and then his picture is gonna be in Times Square. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I think in September. So they're gonna highlight him in Times Square as well.
Okay. How nice. So now getting into your creativity. So
Yeah.
I didn't know you did candles. I didn't know you did the heads. I've known you as a poet. You actually did some things here at the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that. First of all, is this something that started as you became a grown woman, or were you a poet as a child? And tell us about that.
I think I was a poet as a child, but I didn't know it. So I used to write rhymes on like pieces of paper, and then I would throw them away because my mom was nosy. So I didn't want her to read the things that I was writing. But I would just be like, this is the reason for the season. So she can't read this. So like, I don't know. So that was the first time I kind of realized like, oh, I like to write. And then, you know, I never took it really serious because I was just always good in school. So I always wanted to be something that I thought was going to make money. Right. And that wasn't an artist. So, because, you know, everyone wanted to push me to be like a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer or something like that because, you know, I'm book smart as well. So, one day I'm in high school.
Talk your stuff. Go ahead.
So one day I'm in high school and someone comes up to me and it was like, if you can do something on this piece of paper by tomorrow, and it was like play an instrument, write a poem, sing a song, and I can't sing, I can't dance, I was like, oh, I can write a poem. So I wrote a poem, and they were like, if you can write a poem by tomorrow, then you'll be eligible to go to LA for free with the NAACP. So I wrote my first poem and I submitted that in, and I was able to go to LA for free.
Wow.
To go to the NAACP. I wasn't able to compete in the competition, but I was able to be around Black excellence at a young age and see people my age at that time doing really big things, like seeing opera singers at 17, seeing ballet dancers, seeing people play instruments by ear, and actors and singers. It was very inspirational just to be able to see that.
Now, were you in high school then?
I was in high school. I was a junior in high school, yes.
Wow.
So yeah, when they showed me that light, it was definitely eye changing. But I still I went to the school for the College Bound at this point. I mean, I didn't graduate from Tech, but I went to Tech and then I transferred to Riverside.
Okay.
And when I graduated from Riverside, I decided like, okay, I'm not gonna be an artist. I don't want to, you know, I want to be a psychologist. I want to go and I want to learn about people. And then I realized I don't like people like that. I don't want to know your business, you know. Like I just want to say hey and go about my day because I'm an introvert. So I go to TSU and then all of a sudden I start doing poetry again. It just the art follows you. If you just try to run from it, it's gonna like capture you in a corner and it's just gonna be like you're gonna do me. And I'm like, oh man.
So you did stop being creative.
I tried. It never stops. It just if it just oozes out of you, it just oozes out of you. It just comes out in any manner. Like I could just be writing songs. I'm just like, oh, okay, I just wrote that, but you don't take it serious. You just have like a whole basement full of like creativity that's just in the dark, and you're like, I don't want to show the world or anything like that, but it never stops. So I'm in college, and then I joined a group called Writer's Block at the time. And that's actually how I made a majority of my friends. Okay. And we were like-minded individuals. We performed and did so many crazy things. We performed at prisons. We performed at schools. We went on a tour in Memphis. The police officers in Memphis actually commissioned us to come down to talk to five different Job Corps schools. So we kind of went on a mini tour in Memphis. I performed in Motown. I performed in Las Vegas. I performed like all over. And then from there, it was like, wow, you kind of have talent. You know?
You saying that
I was like, hey, you know, this kind of.
So you, all of that time, you didn't know that? You
No, I was just playing around. Yeah, I was just like, oh, man, wow. Oh, people like this?
Right.
So yeah, I was just playing around, and then people are like, no, you need to really take this serious. But the thing about it is, when you're an artist, it's hard to be a business person as well. Yeah. Because you're thinking in the creativity. So when I was young and naive, I was like, I'm just gonna be an artist. But then I started thinking about like how TLC got taken advantage of. Right. I was like, you kind of gotta know, what you're signing, what you're asking for, how much you're worth, because a lot of people want to bleed you dry. They want you to create and they don't want to pay you.
Now, have you, if you don't mind, have you experienced, I know you're saying that's what happens, but have you yourself experienced that?
Yeah, people come to you and they say, hey, I can give you exposure. I'm like, well, I got 600,000 followers on it. What kind of exposure are you trying to give me right now? Like I am the platform. Like, so I'm like, I don't know what you want from me. But I think before then it was just I think I just had my fan base and people would come to me, and when you're working, when you're trying to get on top, when you're trying to like push your poetry, when you're trying to like kind of be something positive during that time, it was like they wanted to push more of like sex, money, drugs, and I'm talking about like the black community, this, trying to lift up the black woman, the black man, the black family, all this. I'm talking about these type of things like, hey, you're talking about your 9 to 5. I'm talking about financial aid at TSU.
Right.
I'm talking about all these type of things, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna try to push this because that's not the narrative that they want to push in the media.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that you have to work against because the algorithm is never on your side when you're trying to push things like that.
Right.
So,
It's actually sad, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Like society doesn't push greatness and positive.
Yeah.
It pushes.
It pushes because but I think that's kind of like Kendrick Lamar, right? When he made that song "Pool Full of Liquor," you gotta dive in it. He said, I believe that he said that was like a trick. Like, you know what I mean? That was like, hey, I'm gonna trick everyone into being my fan so that I can get you to listen to what I'm really trying to talk about. Right. So it's like, I kind of learned from that a little bit. Like, okay, so I have, funny content with Ronald, but then I also show, different sides of just being black. Like, Ronald's always gonna be, black. So we just talk about like, hey, this is like, there's a joke right here, but then there's also like a little bit of information in there too. Right. So I try to like be very conscious about what we post and different things like that, and keep it wholesome. Okay. Just
Right. So I know you mentioned TSU, right?
Yeah.
I know you lived in Nashville for a while. You did your thing there, and you've been here, even in Chicago. So tell the audience, what is the poetry scene like in Milwaukee? Are you entrenched in it?
I think the poetry scene in Milwaukee, they have their own type of community here. And
explain that.
Well, I think that it can be family oriented, but also there can be a lot of competition. Okay. And I don't know if people are as open as backing each other up if they're not seeing a direct result.
Okay.
Versus when I was in Nashville, it felt like they were very, very supportive of paying and promoting their local artists. Right, I don't think anybody asked anybody to do anything for free in Nashville. I think one time I got paid $400 to perform for 15 minutes at a festival, in Nashville. And then here it's like, hey, I have a new open mic. You want to just come and open it? I'm like, okay, cool. This is my fee. It's like, what? I'm not paying. I was like, oh, okay. Well, sorry, I won't be there. Like, I think it's just like when you're an artist, people don't take it as serious. And then so there's a lot of people here, they don't take it as serious because they don't have the people backing them. Okay. So it's kind of more so it can be a hobby, but there's some people who do have the dream of going bigger, but then they kind of create their own little clique, and then they'll just support each other, and then they'll kind of make it through. Okay. So it's different, and it can work here. And I've seen some really beautiful events, and I've seen a lot of things that like they used to have an open mic in no studios, but then I think once you start to become kind of big here as well, then you have to deal with racism. Then you have to deal with the establishment saying, hey, you have too many black people coming to this area, even though, it hasn't been problematic or anything like that. Then they try to stop the event. So it's like, how big can you really get here? Then you have to battle your people. Now you have your people on the one accord. Then you have to battle the city. Like you see the whole thing that happened with T-Pain. Like
I get it. Yeah. I get it. So now moving on. So two other creative aspects about you is your designer heads that you make. Yeah. So now you're a poet, right? You've been a poet for the longest. So now what gets you into designing these heads and inspires you?
So really, my grandmother got me into designing them. She had a 70th birthday party, and me being a creative and throwing her this Denim and Diamonds themed birthday party, I wanted her to have different centerpieces. I got tired of seeing just a flower and a vase. I was like, how can I make this true to like my grandma and just make it different? So then I asked people in my family to donate different jeans. And so everyone's just giving me like I have like over 100 jeans at this point. I make like a backdrop with like these jeans just like falling down, and it looks really pretty. And then I make all these different heads, and I think about the different hairstyles that I've seen Black women wear in my life. So like this one is like I see my grandmother roll her hair at night every night, Afro curls.
Right.
And then like this one, I just remember going to TSU, and this is the go-to, the puff. Like when you have your natural fro,
Right.
and you just need to put it. You probably do it with a shoelace, and you just
Right.
pull your hair up, and you just have a Afro puff.
Hold your hair up.
Yeah, and this one is like Afro futuristic. So I had that style on my album cover, and so I was like, yeah, it's derived from Africa, and it's like futuristic.
Yeah, I get that. So now these are for sale, correct? And you can make them custom. Like if someone wants certain shapes or colors, you can take orders.
Yeah.
Now, how much are these a piece, approximately?
Well, $200.
$200.
Yeah.
Okay, fair price.
Yeah.
Fair price. So now so we have the portrait, we have the head. So now we have these wonderful candles.
Yes.
So tell the audience what inspired you.
Yeah.
And tell them the name of the candles, and you actually make these.
Yes.
Where do you make these?
I make them here.
Where is here?
Greenwood Park.
But yeah, so Twigs is a poet. She makes heads, and she makes these beautiful candles. So tell the audience about this.
Okay, so when I realized that, hey, I wanted to be an artist, I also realized that every artist has a product. And so then I started to make candles because I used to work at a candle factory.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, the patty wax, they ship out to Urban Outfitters, Walmart. They're in competition with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, well. And then I'm there, and they're telling you how it started. It started with two ladies in their kitchen.
This company?
Yes, it's a multi-million-dollar company.
Wow.
And they have the same 8 cents that they just push to Urban Outfitters, Target, everywhere. Like, I'm like, how are they getting away with this? It seems like, but they just change the prices and they compete against themselves. So I was like, when I stopped working there, and I was only working there, the reason I didn't like working there was because when I came in, I worked my way up to the top. So I started in just cleaning candles, and then I started doing data entry for them by the time I left. But I didn't like that I was making more than the people that's been there about 20 years.
Wow.
I didn't like that they were getting paid like $10 an hour.
Right.
I didn't like that they were afraid to ask for a raise. And so that made me wonder, like, hey, I eventually want to own my own company. And I actually want to treat my employees like they, like people. I want to give them good benefits. I want them to be able to voice their opinions in here. I want, people to be individuals.
Right.
So, like, right now it's small, but when I get to the point of me owning a factory, that's the type of atmosphere. Because I've seen, like, my mom and, like, my grandmother, I've just seen a lot of people be employees and the job not care about you.
Right.
Like, you can just be dying on your deathbed and they'll just be writing you up. Like, hey, you missed 5 days. They don't care. So I wanted to make it a place like, like how Google kind of, like, have you ever seen how Google runs their operation?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so there's different places they try different things. So they'll have a place where you can nap. They'll have a place where they have daycare in there. They'll have a place where, hey, we have a on-hand nurse, different things like that. And that's the type of environment that I want to one day own.
I did hear they do that.
Yeah.
So, but what's so special about that and nice about that is we have a gentleman that we just interviewed.
Yeah.
Mr. McMurtry that can help you get to that point.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this here at Greenwood Park. That's what Mindful Mondays is about.
Yeah.
So now this flavor here is what?
It's called Summertime. So
Summertime.
Yeah, it was actually my great grandmother. She had dementia, and before she passed away, she could only remember two songs. So one of it was "It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp."
All right, grandmama.
And the other one was "Summertime" by Billie Holiday.
Really?
Yes.
So this is where that's where that.
Yeah, so
Right.
she would sing "Summertime," and so this one has traces of mango and gardenia because Billie Holiday used to wear gardenia
Yeah, in her hair.
in her
Yeah.
hair. So
yeah.
when I make it, I think about my grandmother.
Wow,
So,
wow.
yeah.
And then you have another
That one's called Water. It's very fresh. It's actually one of my poems. I like one of my love poems. So it's a poem that I wrote, and they said the greatest love song is really about God.
Okay.
So it was like I framed it to where you would think it's about a relationship.
Okay.
But it's really about God.
Right.
So this one is just really fresh, really like when you come in, it's very like serene. Right. So that's why that one's Water.
Well, perfect segue. Would you mind giving us a little piece of the poem? Or?
Of that poem?
Yeah.
Of Water? Oh, I haven't said that one in a minute. Let's see.
Or anyone that
you
choose.
Okay, any poem?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to save Water for later.
Okay.
But that one is on my album. You'll probably be able to find that.
Okay.
And the cool thing about that song is I didn't use any instruments. I used all nature sounds.
Okay.
So the background, so somebody was like, I can really hear the beat. I was like, there's no beat. Yeah. So, okay. Here's a poem. It's actually called Fieldwork. So this poem was inside of the Frisk Art Museum. So fun fact, the first time that Picasso was inside of the Frisk Art Museum was I was also inside of the Frisk Art Museum next to it. My video was playing.
Really?
So yeah. Okay. My mama had odd jobs. Oddly, they didn't care about her odds. She was on a deathbed several times and couldn't get a get well card. They said, retail don't care about your tail. Better sell our customers that fairy tale. Oh, you sick, we wish you well. Tell your kids we hope they fail so they can come and make your sale. Modern day jail, no bail. You walk into work every day with a big smile on your face. Requirements. Realize you deserve more than what they give you. Enlightenment. No matter what you do, they still place judgment. They try to be the God in your life by you placing nothing above it. Worshiping that dollar like you can cure soul ties. Too tired to chase your dreams, so you settle for their lies. Notice how on the first day you was excited to have a new job. By the sixth day you realized you was a new slave. It's a new age of slavery. All this misguided bravery. To think that she was 17 and just had a baby. She was making minimum wage. She was underage. She was born and raised to be a corporate slave. It's ridiculous. Can't get any more meticulous than this. And I've been working this grave shift and I ain't made it. I wish I could buy me a spaceship and fly past the sky. They asked me what I wanted to be when I was younger. I said happy. Too many times did I see my parents on the grind and not have time for me. I just want that simplicity of living free, but I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Why did I have to doubt that I would one day be financially stable? I'm unable to that being possible without me having to share the most precious parts of me. So pardon me as I humbly refuse to be abused by a corporation that thinks I'm so easily replaceable. Telling my dreams are so easily erasable. I walk into work and they say, look how much we pay you to be miserable. The only reason I show up is because my bills are due. I don't shoot the messenger. I'm just being real with you. I'm alongside you singing old Negro spirituals like I've been working this grave shift and I ain't made it. I wish I could buy me a spaceship and fly past the sky.
Oh, girl, yes.
So now, Twigs, I just want to just end the interview, and we, like I said, we appreciate you coming in. So tell the audience all of your social media handles, and tell them where they can purchase the heads, or if they're looking for candles, or anything. So
if you want to purchase the head sculptures that I make or the candles, you can come to Greenwood Park Art Gallery in Freeman. And you can find me on social media. On TikTok, it is Ronald's Sister. On Instagram, it is Twigster, TWIGSTER_. We also have a Ronald Sister official page on Instagram as well. And then on Facebook, it is Twiggy Stewart.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please support this local artist. She's great. She's great. And please continue to support Greenwood Park, Bacchus Insurance, Mindful Mondays, and the Network Effect. June 2nd is the in-person wine tasting, 5:30 to 7:30. See you there. Thank you. Peace.